everyone, my name is Americ from HappyCool and welcome to a brand new review for The Mentalist. This is a review for Season 6, Episode 2, titled Black-Winged Redbird. So before I talk about what worked and what didn't work in this episode, let's talk about the story. So two main things happened in this episode. One, there was a case in which this designer for UAVs exploded in a apparent car attack, but it turns out to be a suicide because he couldn't deal with having to cover up the flaws in his previous work. In parallel, the team makes a really big breakthrough in the RJ case as they discover a key piece of evidence that Red John himself did not even suspect was out there, an analysis of his profile by Jane's former psychiatrist. So that's the story, what worked in this episode. I just want to first start with the car scene between Troy and Rigsby. I love those two guys when they're together, but this is by far one of my favorite scenes of both of them. Especially since Cho was agreeing with Rigsby and Rigsby couldn't even believe it. He was like, yes, the crowd goes wild. Cho agrees with me. I thought that scene was hilarious. I was dying. It was so much fun. Oh my God, that beginning with Jane coming out of the house and just requesting water, the panic, and also using that water to wash Lisbon's face. I thought that moment was super strong. I was blown away. It was excellent, excellent, excellent. Speaking of Jane and Lisbon, it was good to see that this episode was sort of an episode where they came back together, especially after last week's emotionally violent moments. I felt this was a good sort of like reunion. It made sense. It was well done. I liked how these two came back together, and I liked the fact that Lisbon kind of realized that she messed up, and it kind of worked out pretty well. All right, that's it with what worked in this episode. I know what you're thinking. You're like, that's it, Americ? What worked? Nothing else? Oh my God, no. I'm gonna introduce a very special edition of the what worked. I'm gonna call it the RJ edition, because there's so much RJ info that happened in this episode, so many RJ related moments that I had to talk about them. First of all, that dream sequence that Lisbon had where you saw the RJ sign in the CBI office, that dream sequence was scary, yet felt vivid and real at the same time, because you could sort of see what would happen if RJ killed the entire team, and it was really bad. It was chilling. It was really, really chilling. It was a strong moment, but it was also a very chilling moment. In last week's episode, I really felt that Bertram was given a little bit more to do, and I felt this week was no different. He was present in a whole lot more, and not so much as the boss, but you felt that he's up to something else. And I like his presence, and I like how he's just there and doing his thing. So it doesn't feel like he's Red John, but maybe. You never know. Ray Hafner visiting Lisbon in her hospital bed was the creepiest moment in this episode. Especially when he was like walking out, whistling. I was like, holy crap. If this guy is not Red John, because remember, he's my #1 suspect for Red John, and I really think it's him. That was so suspicious. I love that moment, but it was so weird. That was so good, right? Yeah. It was also very fun how Lisbon is just a terrible actress. If I'm RJ, I totally know that Lisbon is onto me. Yeah. Ray Hafner. You never know. Nah, we're really done with what worked. And thankfully, there is nothing to say in what didn't work, because I really love this episode. But I do have quite a few questions and quite a few things I'm wondering about, which is why I'm welcoming back the WTF section of the review. First off, we figured out now that Red John is not a psychic, alright? The way he managed to guess what was in Patrick's brain was by essentially getting the information out of Sophie Miller, who was Patrick's psychiatrist. So that mystery is solved. But what I'm wondering is, if that's the case, how did he get the info from her? Did he first go there, pretend to be a client, and later on abduct her and interrogate her and get all that information from her? Is that what he did? Because I don't think they really addressed that very well in this episode, so I wasn't really clear on how he finally got the information. Did she leave notes somewhere? How did he exactly get that? It's kind of interesting. Also, You know when Patrick Jane was going into the oven, so there was a post-it note on the fridge, says dinner's in the oven, you see the smiley face, but it didn't look like an RJ smiley face, it just looked like a regular smiley face. And I'm thinking, when would RJ do a regular smiley face? He would do this, he would do something like this, he wouldn't do the regular smiley face. That looked like, that was really suspicious to me. Really weird. Huh. That ending where you hear the voice of Sophie Miller as she's describing her client, who we know is Riot John, and they're showing every single one of the suspects, and I'm like, wow, holy crap. Oh my God, that description was just chilling. I was like, oh my God, who could it potentially be? She's describing him as weak in some way, and I think that was very interesting because we're discovering a lot more about him than we ever knew before. If you guys want me to just go through that description line by line, so to speak, and analyze it, comment below and let me know, and maybe I can do a video on it. Depends how many of you really want me to do that. Anyways guys, that's what I thought of this episode. I loved the heck out of this episode. I was glued to the screen. I just loved every minute of it. It was just fantastic. And it's moving things so freaking fast. I mean, I know they're gonna catch Red John, but I feel like it's going so quickly, but there's so much there and so much to analyze. And I just can't wait for more. But enough about me. What did you think of this episode? Comment below and let me know. Let me know what you think about some of the questions that I had out there. What did you think of this episode? If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure to subscribe so you can get more of the great videos that we have on this channel. See you next week for another review of The Mentalist. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.